Breaking news. A New York judge partially lifting the gag order on former President Donald Trump in his hush money case. The revised order will now let Trump speak publicly about witnesses in the case, including Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen, as well as the jury. But restrictions are still in place on statements about prosecutors. Trump is set to be sentenced in this case July 11th after he was found guilty on all 34 counts last month. Joining me now is ABC legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer. Brian, let's start with the obvious question. What do you make of the judge's decision, and also why now?
So, Phil, it makes a lot of sense. I've read the 5-page decision, and I would divide it into this. I would think about it this way. It's about protecting the integrity of the proceedings, and it always has been. However, as to the groups of people and how they intersect those proceedings, when it comes to witnesses, their role is now done. And so the judge says, you know what, this paragraph here that talks about witnesses and their participation in the proceedings, they're no longer participating, so you can go ahead and speak about them. Also said the same about the jury, however, left in place one of the rulings that they could not release public or personal information about those jurors. So that's not going to be kept out. But for prosecutors and court staff, they're still participating in these proceedings because they're not done until July 11th. And so I think that's why here is important at this time to release certain people from the protection of that gag order, but still maintain others while the proceedings in many ways are still continuing until the 11th.
Yeah, no, the way you explain that makes sense. Should be allowed to talk about someone if it's not, happening right in front of you. But what about this? If President Trump's sentencing hasn't happened yet, and he goes back out there and starts talking, as we saw him do before, about Stormy Daniels, Michael Cohen, whomever, the jury, could it affect his sentence in any way?
Yes. It absolutely can. Further statements against witnesses not accepting guilt are all things that the probation report will talk about. Now, that interview we know has already been done, but the report is being written. It doesn't mean that when Donald Trump was interviewed, that report was done. And so the other elements of him speaking about witnesses, speaking poorly about the judge or other components of the criminal justice system, that could be used against him at sentencing.
Okay, so it's sort of one of those things, be careful what you wish for, because now that part of the gag order is lifted, but he's not sentenced yet. Brian Buckmeyer, thanks so much for taking us through that. Appreciate it.